thank you all for coming, taking time out of your busy schedule to help us make this announcement for the community. It's a great announcement to make. The air show is coming back in 2025. It'll be in October this year, not during the summer, so it'll be much cooler. But we do have a big announcement for a return visit to the lake area, or the Navy's Blue Angels. So that's their premier jet team, and we are very excited. They asked to come back. They wanted to come on this date, and we're excited that this year it's going to be during the school term, so we can bring these guys to the schools to visit with all the kids, which is one of their primary things in recruiting. So we're starting to build our air show around this premier jet team, and I promise you it's going to be a state-of-the-art and rock your socks best air show ever. We've talked to people that have not been here before. Some of our regular people may be coming back, but it's definitely going to be a different, high-packed, high-energy, family, fun-filled show. The whole weekend is centered around family. Bring the kids, everybody. It'll be a hybrid show. We're going to do walk-in and tailgating because that's everybody's favorite. But in talking about those kids, today we're also doing a different presentation, as we're going to give out, our proceeds from the air show goes back into the community. And our passion is STEM education, and we have been so lucky every year to give back into the community. And to make that possible, also we have some sponsors here that made that possible. Before we get the children up here, I want to recognize our sponsors. From the police jury, who has always been a faithful sponsor, we have Anthony Barty here. I'd like for him to come up. And from Chennault, which we can't have the Chennault Air Show without Chennault. And they are also very much financial sponsors of our air show. Have Kevin Melton, the director of Chennault. I'd like him to come up. And another one of our big sponsors is Millionaire, which is right where we are in this building. They are a big sponsor of our air show. And we have Joe Torres. And he may be a little busy for being able to come in here because he's making sure everything happens outside. But without our sponsors, the next part of our presentation could not happen. And that's our main thing, is not only pay for the air show, make sure everything is done, but we also want to give back to the community, and we try to give back in as big a way possible, directly into the teachers' hands and to the students. And you're going to see how that works very shortly when we make our presentations to the teachers and the students. Thank you.
Mr. Barty, Mr. Melton, would you like to say anything? I mean, it's a welcome spot.
On behalf of the 15 members of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury, it's just good to be here. And it's always good when you can make contributions to something that benefits our children. So again, any contribution we can make, to the air show that benefits STEM and our children is just money well spent. So again, thank you guys for allowing us to participate. Thank you.
I would just like to say, just to echo what Anthony said, is so incredibly important to the community, but the work that it takes to put on this air show is phenomenal. I mean, she would tell you, and she's been doing this for many years, that the planning for the next air show starts the day that the current air show is over, and there's no joking about that. And so you have a board of directors that are heavily involved in making sure that the air show happens in a safe way, and that it happens in such a way that it supports the community and it supports the STEM and the educational process. So I just wanted to highlight and thank Mary Jo and her team and the board of directors for all of the great work that they do, and certainly everybody in this room that has a critical part of making the air show go off safely. It's like a wedding. You just got to forget about some of the bad things that happen, and you move on and focus on the good thing, right? So, but just a hats off to the team that puts on this air show. They do wonderful work, and it's a great thing for this community. So congratulations, Mary Jo.
And to the media that always gives us great coverage, because it means a lot. So now I'll turn over to Mallory. She is in charge of our grant program. She kind of heads that up and makes sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and make sure that everybody gets what they need. And she's a champion for this. She was a former educator, and she's my daughter.
let me do the fun stuff. So I'm glad to do it. So this is our third year with this grant program. It's called Stimulate Learning, and we reinvest all of the proceeds from our air show back into the community. These grants go directly back into the classroom at all levels, from elementary all the way up through the university level in the 5 parish areas. So we are really proud of this grant program. As of today, we will have reinvested over $50,000 back into the local community. This year's grant totals are around $21,000, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to meet some of the fantastic educators that we have chosen to reinvest these funds into their classroom. So the first educator that we're going to hear from is Erica Sellers from Life Christian Academy. Erica's project is called Brainy Builders, Coding and Constructing with Legos. And so she is going to be, actually I'm going to let her talk a little bit about what she's going to be doing. So Erica, tell us a little bit about your grant.
Well, first of all, I decided to choose something that I know that the students already love. So I found these Lego, it's called Spike kits, and it's the regular Legos that the kids are used to playing with, but then it has a coding aspect to it. So they get to basically bring their creations to life. So they collaborate and build their Lego creations, and then they code it to make it do different activities, and they love it. We've already been able to play with it, and they are obsessed. They want to do Legos every day. But so it's been a really great project. We also got iPads to go with it. They use a program to do the coding. So that's basically it.
Very good. And so that's for grades 3 through 5 at Life Christian Academy in Sulphur, Louisiana, and that was $2,999.70. So we're looking forward to seeing what those kiddos do with this really, really innovative way of bringing coding into the classroom. I think that's really cool. So thank you, Erica. And then next, from St. Louis Catholic High School, we have Emily Petaway. And their grant is going to help them get started with Project Lead the Way, a new engineering program that they're implementing at St. Louis. I'll let Emily tell a little bit about that.
So we just started Project Lead the Way engineering pathway at St. Louis this year. That was a grant that we received from Project Lead the Way, but we still needed more funds to buy the robotics equipment and everything like that. So this grant has allowed us to purchase some VEX robotics equipment that the students can use in the Principles of Engineering class this year. And we're adding 2 more engineering classes next year, Intro to Engineering Design and an AP Computer Science Principles. So they can use these parts over and over from year to year to work on their different engineering designs.
Thanks, Emily. Very good. And that was right at $5,000 for St. Louis High School. And so the next grant recipient we have here with us is the Barb High School robotics team. And I'm going to ask their teacher, Miss Ellen Bradley, and all of them to come up and tell you just how fantastic this program is. I cannot do it justice. I'm not even going to try. These kids have blown me away in my interaction with them, and they are headed to the world competition for VEX robotics, and they have their robots here, and they're going to do a demonstration for you guys in just a minute. But I'm going to turn it over to Miss Ellen Bradley and her students. Tell us a little bit about the VEX robotics program and what you guys have been working on and where you're headed.
Actually, I would like to let these guys talk about what they are doing and how it works.
Absolutely. Okay, so we are 43146X Barb Robotics. We participate in the VEX VRC competition. That's V5. That means that every single year we get a new game to participate in. And using VEX's proprietary parts, we compete with individual robots that we build as teams. So we actually have the 43146X team here today, as well as the 43146C team. Your funding has actually helped start 4 teams at Barb. Here we only have X and C, as these are the ones going to the World's competition coming up in April 25th, I think. So we earned that spot through the funding from the Chennault Airshow. And so we create robots every single year to play this game. It's 2-on-2, and it's on a 12 by 12 foot field, and we actually have the robots out there for as a demonstration later for after this. And every year they give us the game to play, and you have to come up with a unique design to play the game. And every year there's constant strategy shifts, and so what we try to do is is use our engineering prowess to actually play to the strengths of our alliances, as it is 2-on-2. We want to be able to complement whoever we're with. And I'm going to let Madison talk about why we're here like today.
So today we are here for our outreach as well as our grant that we applied for the Chennault Airshow. We have robotics is not just mechanical and like building robots. There's a lot of different aspects. We have programming, marketing, and for the marketing side, we also dive into business development, and we teach our students like industry standards for having like business, going up to people, talking like this in interviews. We also have team interviews at competition, which help build us up and get awards for our teams. Like we have judges awards, we have design awards. Then that ties in with excellence and so for like tournament champions and all that. And but we fund our club completely from the students because our students outreach to the community and talk to business owners like yourselves, and we apply for grants and we just get our money for ourselves.
If anybody has any questions, we're fire away. We're trained to answer on them. As she said, at our competitions we do have judging awards, meaning that not only do you have to have the great ideas to build these robots, you have to be able to present them in a calm, cool, collected manner. So in a way that's easy for someone to wrap their head around, so that they can actually see why your ideas are as good as they are. And that actually goes back to a lot of her work. She's in charge of our engineering notebook, and that's to document our entire design process, and that's out there for y'all to view as well. And that just keeps us like in line. So we actually always have a schedule, knowing when we have to have something done by what time, and if we go over schedule, how we can adapt to that and make sure that we can overcome the burden of having gone over schedule and shortening the schedule later on, seeing where we can cut back, and seeing where we can improve. And after every single competition, we're always doing just that, is improving, innovating, trying to find ways we can do things better than we did before. So the robot out there right now that you're looking at, that's the product of 8 competitions. From our very first competition, it looks like an entirely different robot. And what we're actually doing right now is building an entirely new robot to compete at the world competition. As I said, the strategy is shifting, and so we're trying to shift with the strategy.
Thank you guys. They will be available for more questions and a lot more information out there, and y'all can go watch their demo.
Hope y'all come to the air show.
Yes, and they will be at the air show with their robots. So thank you very much. You can see why we're so impressed with these guys. They're going to be out there for the second part of the event, but round of applause for all the educators. There are 2 recipients who couldn't be with us today. The CPSB Academy Virtual Instruction Program. So this program really was born out of the pandemic. And so it's a completely online virtual instruction program that's housed out of LCB Academy. It's a team of teachers, and they are getting a VR headset library to use across their curriculum. So they're going to focus on biology and bioengineering, but it will be accessible for their entire curriculum. And so that was a $9,000 grant, and that services over 1,000 students in Calcasieu Parish, and more. So that's a really cool one too. And then the last one was Our Lady Queen of Heaven School. Their middle school team submitted a grant where they are going to read a nonfiction novel called The Boy Who Harnessed Wind and build a model windmill. So it's a cross-curricular grant, which we also love those too, because we know STEM is super important, but you can't really do it if you don't learn how to write and talk. These kids are an example of that. So we're really proud of that one as well. And so they're not here. But really glad, really proud of everybody that submitted a grant. I will say that for the Barb High School robotics team, the students wrote the grant. We didn't know that whenever we scored it. But that was told that afterwards, and I was blown away by that as well. So thank you so much for being here. Big thank you to our sponsors. We couldn't do this without you. This is the heart and soul of the show. And now I think we're good, Brett, to do a group photo maybe?
We're going to adjourn for a demonstration of what these students do.